Hey guys, so today I'm going to be putting together my everyday makeup drawer for the month of May. So excited to kick things off with a new set of products, but first I want to just give you a quick recap of my items from my April everyday makeup drawer. Some of these things I'm actually planning on leaving in here for another month because I feel like I just didn't get enough chances to use them in April. Especially these two things, these two lip products, the Bite Lip Crayon in Stinger, which is this really fun, bright, reddish coral. Beautiful shade for this time of year. When I did my big lip declutter where I tried on all my lipsticks, I forgot that this was part of my everyday makeup drawer and ended up just putting it back in with the rest of my lipsticks, and so I didn't really use this very much at all this month. So I want to keep it in my drawer for another month. And then same thing with this Urban Decay Lip Plumping Balm in the shade My Dude. It's a nice sheer coral shade. Really into this gloss shade right now. I think it's a really fun color for spring. It's a nice, just juicy, sheer coral. And once again, I just feel like I didn't use this as much as I would have liked to in April, so gonna keep that in the drawer. And then I'm also gonna keep in my Essence Soft and Precise Lip Pencil. This is in the shade Happy. It actually goes really nicely with that Urban Decay lip gloss. I'll go ahead and swatch this Bite product as well. And there's the Bite Lip Crayon and Stinger. So all three of those together work nicely. I'm just going to go ahead and keep all three of those in the drawer for another month. I also didn't really get around to using this Physicians Formula Butter Believe It foundation. Really, the main reason is because I just introduced a new project pan and I have two different foundations in there. The Urban Decay Hydromaniac and the Colourpop Pretty Fresh. So really these are the two foundations I've been focusing on and wearing the most recently, so I think I'm just going to go ahead and put this away and come back to it another month, but right now I'm really just gravitating towards both of those Project Pan foundations. The concealer I had in here was the Urban Decay Stay Naked concealer, and this one I used just about every single day as I was getting ready. This was the concealer I used. Really enjoyed using this again. This is one of my favorite concealers, and it had been a while since I had reached for it before, so it was nice to use that basically every day this month, but I do want to put it away and pick out a different concealer to play with in May. These two things are just going to stay in here, the e.l.f. Halo Glow Setting Powder and the Sigma Color Corrector. Those are just some daily use products. I also have my Franken blush in here. I don't know if I mentioned this in my last everyday makeup drawer, but this is a Franken blush I made with a mixture of a lipstick and a cream blush, and I'm just going to go ahead and keep it in my everyday makeup drawer until I hopefully finish it. I'm not sure when that'll be, but this is just going to be my go-to cream blush. I also had put in my everyday makeup drawer last month the e.l.f. Luminous Putty Blush in the shade Maui, and I didn't realize at the time, but this is actually really similar to my Franken blush. You can see those shades are really quite similar, so I don't feel like I need to have both of these in at the same time. I think I may have only used this once, if at all, in April. Really what I was using for blush most days was this face palette that I had in here. This is the Aether Amber Cheek Trio, and I really fell back in love with this. It had been so long since I had used this. It's one of those products that just gets neglected in my collection, but these blushes are so fun for this time of year. I almost don't want to put it away, but I also know I have some other blushes I want to pull in, so I am going to put that away for now, but I had so much fun with this trio. And really I found myself mostly wearing powder blushes in April for some reason, so this is just what I was using just about every day, and I don't think I really used that e.l.f. Luminous Putty Blush very much. Wow, I guess I was feeling in a very bronzy mood when I put together this April drawer, but I had both of these bronzers in here this month. The Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Bronzer in Fair. I did use this a handful of times. I also ended up rolling my BH Cosmetics Belgian Waffle palette into my project pan, and this specific shade out of here that I was using was this Buttermilk shade, so that's what I wore most of the time, but whenever I wanted to use something different I would use this one, and this is one of my favorite bronzers of all time. As you know, it has a huge pan in it, and yeah, I really enjoyed it. Honestly, I would keep it in here, but again, I want to spread the love and use some of my other bronzers. And also, I feel like I probably don't need to pick another powder bronzer right now just because I'm focusing so much on this BH Cosmetics bronzer. So that will go back into my collection. I also had a lot of fun with my Soul Body Bronzing Balm. This is a nice cream bronzer, really nice warm tone. I'm getting a lot more into warm bronzers again. Once the weather warms up, that's when I really start wearing warm bronzers like this. Usually, like in the colder months, I feel like this is just a teeny bit too orangey for me, but really like it this time of year. I did wear this quite a few times as well. I think I even wore this more than the Charlotte Tilbury powder bronzer. You can actually see I have a pretty nice dip going in here. This is a huge product, but it's nice to see some good usage in there. And this is such a great bronzer for the summertime too. I'm sure I will roll this back into my everyday makeup drawer soon, but for now, like I said, I want to use some other things. I also had this Aether Beauty highlighter in the shade Pure Diamond Dust. This is the more cool toned of the Aether highlighters that I have. Such a gorgeous highlighter. I'm actually now, sorry to keep bringing up my project pan, but I'm now working on panning the shade Pink Diamond Dust. So it was really nice to have both of those two options. Anytime I didn't want something quite so golden toned, I really enjoyed using this Pure Diamond Dust shade. It's very silvery, really fun color. I feel like it's pretty unique compared to a lot of the other highlighters I have. But I am going to go ahead and put that back in my collection and pick out something new. Last few things are just some eye products here. I had this single shadow from Clarity Cosmetics. This is the shade Capri Sun. And I did do one really fun look with this month. I just had this shade all over my lid. Pretty much like a one and done type of look with just this shade. But then I put a little bit of like a matte yellow in the inner corner. But this is mainly what I was wearing on my lid in that look. And that was really fun. Honestly, I love lime green eyeshadow. I don't really love the color lime green for other things, like in general, but for makeup and eyeshadow specifically, I think it's such a fun color. So had a lot of fun with that. Good to get some more use out of that single. And then I also had this Danessa Myricks Infinite Chrome Flakes in the shade Strobe Light. I talked about this in my video about underrated makeup. This is such an underrated gem. See what I did there? Because the packaging looks like a gem. This is such a fun topper shade. It's one of the most unique eyeshadow products I've ever used. It's pretty much clear. Like, as you can see, the base is clear, but when you shift it, it has these different sized like glitter flakes in it that just give your lids that's like such a nice like crushed glitter topper effect. So much fun. I am going to put this away, but I had a lot of fun with that this month. I did use this Makeup Revolution eyeliner I think one time, which is better than no times this month, and I actually used it along with that Danessa Myricks shadow. And these paired together nicely because that Danessa Myricks shadow does have a blue shift that kind of matches this eyeliner, so those were a good pair. And then I also had this liquid shadow from Hard Candy. This is their Eye Def Metallic Shadow. The shade name is not on here, but it is this teal shade. And I think I only used this in my last Everyday Makeup Drawer video in the Get Ready With Me at the end. I think that's the only time this month that I used this. But, you know, I'm glad to have at least used it once. And I'm going to go ahead and put it away and probably pick out another liquid shadow to put in here. So these lip products I am going to keep in. There was another lip product in my everyday makeup drawer that I ended up decluttering in my lip declutter. It was the Estate Lip Thirst in the shade Pink Pony. So that one obviously is not in here anymore. So that is the recap on my April drawer. Let's go ahead and pick out some new products to put in here for May, and then at the end we'll do a get ready with me using those products. So starting with my top drawer here, this has all of my face products. One thing I know I want to pull in, I'm not going to grab an actual foundation, but I do want to bring in my e.l.f. Halo Glow Liquid Filter. I've been loving this so much. I like mixing this with my foundations, pretty much any foundation. It looks amazing, so really want to use that some more this month. And for concealer, I already know what I want to pick out. I'm going to grab my NYX Bare With Me Serum Concealer. This is a great, just lightweight, very natural looking concealer. Reminds me a lot of the Kosas concealer. And as the weather is warming up, I'm really starting to opt for more just lightweight, breathable base products, and I think this is going to be perfect. But I'm not going to pick another foundation just because I have two already in my project pan in my everyday makeup drawer. I think I will pull in, though, my e.l.f. Jelly Pop Primer. I used this again recently in my video doing a full face of my oldest makeup, and I was so impressed with this. I loved the way this looked under the Urban Decay Hydromaniac foundation. Those two made such a beautiful combo, so I definitely want to make sure to wear that combo more this month. And for cheek products, one that I know I want to reach for is this Milani blush in the shade Luminoso. This is such a classic shade, and I love this in the spring and summer. It's so glowy. It's not too orangey though, and it's not too metallic either. It's just the perfect amount of glow. So that's going to be my powder blush. I don't have any blushes in my project pan right now, so I think I'm going to pick another, maybe just one more cream blush, because we're getting into sunburnt blush season, at least in my book, and one of my favorite sunburnt blushes is the what is this, Minori cream blush in the shade Scarlet. Beautiful red color. So I think that'll be my cream blush of choice this month. Let me go ahead and pull this one in too. This is the Minori Cream Highlight in Champagne. Normally I don't really love cream highlight, but I recently discovered that this, even though it is a cream, it does wear nicely over powder. I'm able to just tap it over powder makeup and it doesn't mess with it. So I think this will be really pretty to wear with that cream blush. But of course I also want to pick a powder highlight. And so I'm gonna grab this one. I feel like I haven't used this one recently, but I love this highlighter. It's so underrated to me. This is the Estate Baked Highlighter in the shade Lit. Nice golden champagne toned highlighter. I also love wearing golden highlights like this with peachy blushes, like the Milani one, and also with red blushes. I think a golden highlight looks perfect. So that's gonna be my powder highlight pick. You know what? I wasn't going to keep this Soul Body bronzer in my everyday makeup drawer for another month, but I think I just decided I do want to put it back in for May because I was looking for another warm bronzer, and honestly, the two options for like more warm tone bronzers are this one and my LYS cream bronzer stick, which I also love. I had this in my everyday makeup drawer, I think in March. I kind of just want to keep this Soul Body one in for another month because this is one of my older bronzers, so I would just like to get some more use out of it, and I'm just feeling inspired to reach for this still. So let's just have that be my cream bronzer, and then my powder bronzer will be the BH Cosmetics Belgian Waffle palette, which is in my project pan. Alright, so my lip drawer is looking so nice and minimal ever since my declutter. I'm loving it. So I already am keeping the Bite Lip Crayon, that Urban Decay gloss, and that Essence lip liner in my drawer from last month. And then I also do have a lipstick, a lip liner, and a lip gloss in my project pan. So I don't want to pick too much more, but I'm kind of wanting to just pick another couple of like sheer lip products. I kind of want to grab this one. This is the e.l.f. lip stain in the shade Coral Cutie. It's a really fun orange shade. I was actually thinking about decluttering this, but I ended up deciding to keep it just to see how much I would end up using it this summer. And I do, like I said, I'm in a very peachy mood these days, so I think this will be a fun, just sheer lip to reach for. I've mentioned before, I don't feel like this lip stain actually stains my lips. I think it's more so because of the shade rather than this formula. Like I know some of the other e.l.f. lip stains, people have said they do stain their lips better, but this one, it fades pretty quickly, but it's still a nice, just like juicy orange shade. And then I think, you know what, for something a little bit more neutral, because I have a lot of peachy lip products in my everyday makeup drawer, I'm also going to pull in this one. This is the Tarte Maracuja Juicy Lip in the shade Hibiscus. This is more of just like a rosy, glossy shade, so I think it'll be nice to have just something different if I'm not in the mood for a really warm peach. That'll be a good option to have. That's gonna do it for lip products. Alright, so next we have my eyeshadow drawer. As you guys know, I do have all of my spring palettes in my spring palette basket, so I'm not going to be putting any palettes in my everyday makeup drawer. I'm just going to be pulling from that basket this month. But I do want to pick out maybe a couple of either singles or liquid shadows. Here are all of my liquid shadows. I kind of want to do another one of these hard candy ones, just because these have some fun colors. So last month we had the blue one in. So I won't do that one again. I kind of want to do both the pink and the purple this time. Yeah, these look really fun for some colorful spring looks, those two, so let's bring those in. All right, I also want to pick one of my eyeshadow crayons. I'm trying to have one of these in my drawer per month. And you know what I think I want to do is this one. This is the Urban Decay eyeshadow stick in the shade Fishbowl. We also used this in my oldest products video, and it just got me really into this color. This is such a fun blue color. Makes a really fun pop on the lower lash line or as an inner corner pop. For liner, as you can see, I'm really just in the mood for colorful eye makeup these days, and I think I'm gonna pull in both of these two pastel eyeliner pencils. These are from NYX. These are their Epic Wear liner sticks in the shades Periwinkle Pop and Chill Blue. Both of these look really pretty either in the lower waterline or just across the lower lash line for like a subtle pop of color. And I also have worn these in the inner corner as well. So lots of fun colors I'll be wearing on my eyes this month. I'm excited. Alright, so I'm really excited to do a Get Ready With Me now. I think I want to use my Clarity So Amazing palette. This is the palette I have rolled into my project pan. And I also just really want to use this. So I think that's the palette I'm going to use today. And then I also want to try to use one or both of those liquid shadows. But first, let's go ahead and do the base. So I am going to use that e.l.f. Jelly Pop Primer. So I always like to give that about 10 minutes to sink in, which I know is kind of annoying, but I find that if I go in with foundation too quickly after, sometimes it can pill. So actually what I'll do is, while I wait for that to sink in, I'll go ahead and start on my eyeshadow, especially because some of these shadows do have a bit of fallout. So I'm going to start out with just priming my lids. Okay, I think I want to do a pink and purple pastel look. Now, this palette doesn't really have any purples in it, but I do have some purple singles. So I'm thinking I'll do pink in the inner half of my eye and then purple in the outer half. I'm going to start by building up some of this shade. This is the shade Howlin from Colourpop. I'm just going to take that on a slightly fluffy shader brush. This is the BK Beauty 203. And I'm just packing that here in the outer third. Blending that up pretty far too, like pretty close to the brow. I'm just going to take some of the shade See Ya Later from the Clarity palette. That I'm going to pack here on the inner half of my lid. And I'm bringing it to meet with that purple in the center and just kind of dragging my brush back and forth to blend those together. Ooh, those two shades look really pretty next to each other. That right there would make just a really fun all matte look. Alright, so I think for that purple, I'm going to add a little bit of the shade Prowlin on top, and I'm just packing that on with my finger. Before I go in with any liquid shadows, I do want to take some of this pink shimmer. I Washed Up Like This is what it's called, and I'm going to tap that over that matte pink shade. Ooh, that's so pretty. For now, I'm going to leave the eyeshadow at that. I'm going to add more to it, but I think that primer has had plenty of time to sink in, so I'm going to go ahead and do my base now. I am going to use this e.l.f. Halo Glow liquid filter, and I'm just going to dot this on to the high points of my face. Just a little bit here, there, everywhere. Yeah. For foundation, I'm going to try mixing these two together again. I wore these mixed together the other day. I didn't love how they looked, but I want to give it one more chance. And I haven't tried them mixed with this e.l.f. liquid filter, so let's just see what happens. I'm going to do just about half and half of each, like a pretty equal ratio. I'm trying a new sponge, because I really needed a new one. So yesterday at the grocery store, I just looked to see what sponges they had. They had a bunch from e.l.f., and so I ended up getting this one from e.l.f. that I hadn't tried before. I wanted to just get my EcoTools Bio Blender again, but they had all the EcoTools products like locked behind a cabinet, and I hate asking a salesperson to come and open the cabinet for me. No way am I doing that. So instead, I just got one of the ones that was not locked up, and I think this is called the, I'm not sure what this exact name of the sponge is, but I was a little annoyed because the price tag, I swear, it said the price of this was $5, but then when I checked out, it was $8. So I paid $8 for this sponge. And online, I think it's normally $6. So I feel like I got a little ripped off. I thought about going and returning it, but then I was like, do I really want to go return this just to save like $3 to go buy a $5 sponge instead? Like, I don't think, but I had to think about it in terms of like the amount of money I'd be saving for the amount of time I would have to spend going and returning this, and it came out to like basically $3 for an hour of time. And I'm like, no, I think my time is worth more than $3 an hour. Anyway, the sponge is nice so far. I like it, no complaints. It's nice and soft and bouncy. It is very porous though. Like, it's one of those sponges that you can like really see, like the holes are kind of big. And a lot of the reviews online said that this like sucked up a lot of product, but I mean, I feel like that's true for all sponges to an extent, and I don't feel like this sucks up more product than other sponges do. So far, I'm happy with it. Really excited to use this NYX concealer. This is the Bear With Me. I love this concealer so much. Okay, this concealer, though, I do prefer to blend out with a brush. I have to remember that because this is one of those concealers, it's because it's kind of a liquidy consistency, or I mean, it's not super liquidy, but it's thinner than a lot of other concealers, and I find that a sponge will just take away so much of the coverage, And when you blend it with a brush, this concealer actually has really good coverage. Like, I think it actually has really solid coverage for being a serum concealer. So I am going to go in with my Soul Body Bronzing Balm, and this I have in the shade Fair, by the way. I like taking some of this on my nose, too. That's one thing I like to do with bronzer, warmer bronzers. I like to take them across the nose. I think I actually want to wear my Franken Cream blush because I don't really think a peachy blush will go with this eye look, and I also don't really think a red blush will go with this eye look, but my Franken blush is just kind of a neutral pink. So yeah, I'm just going to use this. And I'm just tapping some of that on with my finger and then blending it out. I'm just going to use that same brush that I used for the bronzer to blend that out. And you can see this is really like a blush lighter because it does have highlighter in it. So I could skip highlighter altogether. I mean, look at that glow. Okay, so far I do think this base, like that foundation combo, is looking really nice. Yeah, I'm liking the combination of these two foundations a lot better today. I think the Jelly Pop Primer is what's really giving me that like smooth glass skin look. This primer is magical. I love it. And I also think that the addition of this Halo Glow liquid filter is adding some nice luminosity too. But yeah, overall, really liking the base. I'm going to take a little bit of my Sigma color corrector real quick to my under eyes before I set them with powder. Alright, so I set my under eyes with the e.l.f. Halo Glow loose powder. I'm going to set the rest of my face with the LYS Triple Fix setting powder. And then for highlight, I'm going to use the Estate Baked Highlighter in Lit. This is a really nice, just natural looking highlighter. I mean, I wouldn't say it's subtle. Like, you can get a pretty intense glow with it, but it's very smooth and pearly. It just gives such a smooth glow to the cheeks. You know what I kind of want to try? Is a little bit of this pink shadow as a blush. Never done that before, and I'm not sure how it's going to work, but I was just thinking I want a little bit more blush to my cheeks, so I want to try this. Okay, it works. It's definitely not too light for me. I was thinking it might be too pastel for a blush, but I think it's working nicely. It's definitely very cool toned, but I think it's pretty. Okay, I think that's really fun, actually. Okay, so brows are done, and now okay, first of all, I was debating putting this Urban Decay eyeshadow stick on the lower lash line for like a pop of blue. Can't decide if I should do that or if I should just stick to the purple and pink theme and do my NYX Epic Wear liner stick on the lower. Or I could, if I wanted to do a more subtle blue, I could do this NYX one. I think I want to use this eyeshadow stick. Let's do it. I'm just going to draw this across the lower lash line, and then I'm just blowing that out with this smudge brush. I might not need to use the pink liquid shadow today. We'll see. I do want to use the purple one in my outer corner, though, because I want to add more of like a metallic glitter effect out here. So I'm just going to draw that on. Okay, I'm just going to tap over that with this dense shader brush and just kind of blend out the edges. These Hard Candy liquid shadows, they are nice. They're a little bit too wet almost, like they take a little while to dry. I need to get one of those like handheld fans. Just try not to blink too much as it dries, but that is a pretty color. Taking more of a crease brush now to blend out that edge. Alright, just because I want to use the pink one too, I'm just going to take a little dot of that right there on the inner corner. Okay, I do want to take some of this NYX Epic Wear liner stick in Periwinkle Pop to my lower waterline, just to add a little purple to that lower lash line to tie it in with the upper lid. Alright, I am going to use this last little bit of my Revolution Fix and Glow setting spray. I think this will probably be the last time I use this. Maybe the second to last time. I think there's one use left after that. I'm just going to tap over that with my sponge because it lifts some big droplets. Usually this mister is pretty good, but I think just because we're at the very end, it's giving me some big raindrops on my face. I'm not going to do any liner on the top. I just want to keep the look pretty light and pastel. I could do like a black wing on the top if I wanted to, but I really just want to keep things really light today. Just going to go in with my Tarte Maneater mascara. Okay, now I'm left with the dilemma of deciding what lip to wear with this. I don't know if any of these are going to work with this eye look. It's a very like cool toned eye look, and so I don't really want to do something super peachy. I'm gonna try just this Urban Decay My Dude lip gloss just on its own and see how that looks, since it's pretty sheer. Okay, I actually think that lip gloss works pretty well with this eye look. I wouldn't have thought just because it's so orange looking in the tube, but on my lips it just gives more of like a almost just red tint to my lips, so I think it works pretty well with this eye look. Definitely better than any of the other things in my everyday makeup drawer right now. Okay, so I really like how this look came together. I've really been loving pastels recently, and just colorful eye makeup in general has been my jam. So had a ton of fun with this look. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, be sure to give the video a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I do also have a Patreon and a channel membership if you'd like to support my channel further. Otherwise, I hope you all have an amazing rest of your day, and I will talk to you again very soon in my next video. Bye!